Orbis.
Heavenly Father, we gather here today as stewards of Miami-Dade County, seeking your guidance. Grant us wisdom, discernment, and patience as we work for the good of our community. Help us to listen with open hearts, speak with humility, and serve with integrity. May our efforts promote unity and the well-being of all residents. We ask for your blessing upon this meeting, upon our county. Amen. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Less and less.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's Airport Committee. We do have a few changes, and I want to take a moment to extend incredible gratitude to our chairman, Anthony Rodriguez, for trusting me in the role of being the new chairwoman of this port committee in the absence of our new ambassador, Kevin Cabrera. I also want to take a moment to welcome our new colleague and member of this committee, Commissioner Miami-Dade Orbis. I don't know if you want to take a moment to say a few words, but you certainly have the floor should you elect to do so.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I really appreciate it. This is my first official committee, so thank you for welcoming me. And I'm very excited to be here, and I'm honored to serve on this committee alongside all of you. As we know, the airport is one of the biggest things in District 6, so I look forward to working with everyone to forward the goals of the airport and of the county together. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and welcome. At this time, we will open the reasonable opportunity for the public to be heard. I don't have any speaker cards. Should you want to address the body, now is your opportunity. You'll have 2 minutes. You'll have to state your name and your address. Seeing no one approaching the podium at this time, I will close the reasonable opportunity to be heard. To our county attorneys, any edits, changes, or additions to this morning's agenda?
You have no changes to your printed agenda. Madam Chair, just to note, if items are forwarded, the administration is requesting waiver of items 3A, 3B, and 3C to the 520 BCC.
I don't have an objection to waiving items 3A, 3B, and 3C to the next BCC, understanding, of course, that that's within the discretion and the purview of our chairman to add those to that agenda. To my colleagues, are there any items that you would like to bifurcate or discuss on this morning's agenda? Seeing no bifurcations, Commissioner Hardiman?
3D.
3D is bifurcated. Any additional bifurcations? I'll entertain a motion on the balance of the agenda.
Motion.
It's been moved. It's been seconded by Commissioner Hardiman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded no. The balance of the agenda, with the exception of 3D, carries. Commissioner Hardiman, you are recognized on 3D.
I'd just like to have the staff introduce 3D because as I read it, it brought about some questions. And so I want to have it introduced so we can kind of have that dialogue.
Yes, to the director, you are recognized. I believe Commissioner
sure.
Hardiman asked you to approach.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner, this is our gas per item. The award recommends awarding to 6 firms as listed in the item. One is a 100% locally developing business, which is Ultra, and the other 5 fall under Group B, which have a 20% locally developing business goal, which is Triangle, Swissport, Yulin, G2, and Menzies. Those are the 5 firms being recommended under Group B. And they will get permits from us, and then they contract with the airlines for those general aviation services, like cabin cleaning, work under the wing, towing, wheelchair services, that type of thing.
Madam Chair, I used to sit on a committee in Miami called it was basically it's like a commercial waste committee, right? So they had big haulers, small haulers of waste and things of that nature. And one of the things that I learned from the waste hauling industry is that they cannibalize each other from year to year. It's part of, I guess, their profiteering sort of structure. You build a company big enough to get a bunch of contracts to be bought by a bigger company. Make some good money. And then you non-compete for a little bit, and then you do it all over again. And so what I found was that in the city of Miami, the haulers that we had, they happened to many a times be the same company. I guess it's the same sort of process that you find in rental car companies. You know, you think you have the benefit of choice when you choose between two companies, but actually they're companies owned by the same firm. The more that I learn, the more you realize that happens in a lot of different industries, because we see it in, what is that? I think Coral Gables. Coral Gables has their mall that they built out there, and many of the companies are owned by the same management. So I say all that to say, do we find that in this circumstance? Do we find that there are at least companies that are owned by other companies that make up the one of the 5 that you've selected?
So the 5 that are being selected are individual firms. Our understanding is that one of the firms, G2, is in the process of being acquired by Menzies, which is another one of the 5. That acquisition, to my understanding, has not happened yet, but we have been told that acquisition is in the process of taking place.
And is there any approval that we need to have in order for that sort of acquisition to occur, or is that something that goes beyond our scope?
My understanding is that since it's a foreign firm that's purchasing a U.S. firm, they have to go through a federal process as part of that approval. Our approval comes as far as the approval of the permits that we issue to these companies to be able to perform work at MIA. And then the firms themselves enter into contracts with the individual airlines to perform the services that are required.
And so do you anticipate that this company will still continue to act in its form, or do you anticipate that it would be consumed by the other firm and then travel under one name?
Yeah, that is, we're not sure of that yet, Commissioner, to be honest. What we've heard is what I said, that they're being acquired, but whether or not they will function under one permit or under 2 individual permits, that's to be determined, I guess, after the merger actually is approved and goes through.
In this industry, have you seen when there are acquisitions that people tend to keep the leadership and a lot of the employees, or do you find that there's change that occurs many times when people buy one company, through a larger company?
Yeah, I couldn't speak to that as far as individual mergers and how those, I think that those happen on a case-by-case basis. In other words, I think what you're asking is how many employees are retained from the firm that's being acquired versus how many employees fill those slots from the new firm. I really couldn't speak to that in this particular case.
But in the past, have we seen this happen under these sort of contracts?
Not at MIA. We have not had that type of thing happen at MIA that I'm aware of.
If for instance, if we extended this to include the next firm also, because then that would be consistent with, I guess I have this issue with, because I talked about it the last, I think it was the maybe airport meeting, or no, it was the commission meeting actually, when I brought up one company that was owned by other individuals that were already in the airport bidding on, coming into the airport. I have like a little, it always comes to the top of my mind, because what happens is that you don't give other people opportunities, other ownership opportunities to participate.
I'm sure if I could try to address that point, if I could, I'm sure through the chair. Commissioner Jimmy Morales, Chief Operating Officer, we have been informally notified, and by that I mean verbally, that there is this transaction potentially underway whereby Menzies would acquire G2. Would they keep 2 permits open? Would they merge into one? We've not received any formal in writing notification about it. Obviously, if you were talking about adding another company, we would certainly prefer to have them operate in a one permit, one company. But that's really a decision they have to make. But as you're right, if they're going to merge into one, I think we would need to approve that. So they would need approval from the county to merge the 2 contracts into one. If they did that, then you're correct, there might be an opportunity to add someone else. But at this point, it sounds like their transaction is maybe not even consummated yet. So it's a little bit of speculation on our part, but we would entertain that if and when that happens. There's been no formal notice to the county of anything about what their intention is, what they're doing, et cetera. So,
And what would be the benefit to the county if we were to do that? If we were to add another company, besides knowing that we'll have at least distinct ownership amongst the group?
well, obviously the advantages, and I'll not to steal it from Ralph, but number one, obviously 6 companies opposed to 5 is more people working out there, more service out there. The levels of competition. As it turns out, the next company is actually, which would be AGI, is already out at the airport. I think they're a subsidiary. They're not subsidiary, excuse me. They are subcontracted. So they already have staff out there and equipment out there. So I don't think it would be an imposition on additional space or equipment that would need to be out there. So it would be a natural transition. So like I said, they're sort of already out there, and so it fits nicely. But the question of whether they would continue to be a sub or whether they would have their own permit if there were a merger, that unfortunately we can't say that today because we don't know what's happening between Menzies and G2 formally.
So a subcontractor could potentially become a prime contract holder in the airport with this sort of,
Well, it's because they bid and they're next in line. So if the idea was that they merged into one permit, that could open up an extra permit space, and if we knew that now, you could add them as a 6 if that was the issue. But
Clarify, Commissioner, one thing. So G2 is already at the airport. Menzies is from outside. So it will be an outside firm acquiring a firm that's already at the airport. As far as AGI is concerned, to the chief's point, AGI they've had a presence at MIA for more than 20 years. They have a presence in our cargo area, so we don't have an issue because they already have space. One of our biggest concerns anytime you add additional firms is where do we put them? We need to find available space for them to store their equipment and manage their operation. In the case of AGI, they are already out there. They've had a presence at MIA for many years, so we don't have an issue administratively with them being out there and having a permit. Again, as the chief mentioned, it provides another option for our airlines to contract with, another firm that can provide the services. But space-wise, we don't have an issue because they're already present there. It wouldn't be like adding a brand-new firm that we would have to find space for. That would be more of an issue.
beyond the scoring that happened in this circumstance, what has been your experience with this company and the dedication to the employees and their performance within this industry?
AGI you're referring to?
Yes.
To my knowledge, AGI, we have not had any issues with them as far as their performance or how they treat their employees, to my knowledge.
Madam Chairwoman, I don't know, we're a small committee today, but I'm certainly open to amending this to allow another company to step into the shoes, because if we anticipate that there's going to be a merger, which it sounds like that's what's going to happen, you still have the diversity in the companies participating. I liken it to what happens in the waste industry, because very easily you'll find that one company could own 3 or 4 different, I guess I would call it, what do we call it here? Permits, correct. And just like in this, there are a certain number of permits that are allowed. And in the past, what I've seen is I've had the same sort of issue come up where people are saying, well, it's not technically fair because this company actually has 3, and we're trying to make our way into Miami and provide, some options for people to choose other than going with the major 3 options. And so, I'm willing to amend this to allow that if you deem it reasonable in this time.
Madam Chair, if I can add one thing, Commissioner, one thing we would like to have as part of that amendment, if you don't mind, is to be able to receive official written notification when the merger between Menzies and G2 finally does occur. So that's one thing that we would want to have and require, just so for our awareness to be able to know.
I would adopt that as a part of the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hardiman. Your points are well taken, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. These permits are coveted, they're highly valuable, they're highly sought after, and the opportunity to acquire them doesn't occur frequently. There is a contingency here, i.e. G2 acquires Menzies. We don't know whether that's going to happen or not. That has not been formalized. And there is discussion of whether or not those 2 permits would be consolidated into one. It would certainly be my strong preference that they are consolidated into one. If there was a full acquisition of a company, it makes zero sense for them to keep two permits. There would make no sense. It would naturally fall to the next highest rank bidder. And so I'm fully supportive of that for all of the reasons articulated by Commissioner Hardiman. The one pause that I do have, Commissioner, is that the sponsoring commissioner is not present to accept that highly intuitive amendment. I mean, I consider it to be highly intuitive. I certainly support it, but without the sponsoring commissioner present to be able to say yay or nay on that proposed amendment, I have discomfort in amending it currently. So I don't know how you feel about that, Commissioner Hardiman.
When the cat's away, the mice do play. No, I completely understand that. I mean, once again, I guess is an announcement, if you will, at least of their intention to do something to this nature. Of course, if it goes to a full board, we can make that decision. But, out of courtesy to my colleague, who I hear is somewhere getting a tan, I'm willing to, to wait to make that amendment if you find it necessary.
Thank you, Commissioner Hardiman. I do think that that's the better course, and I think that the message being delivered is one that's pretty clear. I don't know how Commissioner Milian Orbis feels about this, but again, I feel like this is a rather intuitive subject, and hopefully the sponsoring commissioner will be amenable to it. I will say, in addition, regarding the acquisition that is prospective and conjectural at this point, these things can take time, right? When one company acquires another, depending on the size of the companies and the size of the acquisition, it can take time. What I do not want is two permits to be tied up in the duration of that acquisition. So we as a body or our aviation department need to figure out if that acquisition could potentially take years. I don't want to forego the opportunity for this next ranked company to be able to provide this service in our airport. So I am happy advancing this to the next BCC agenda. Having the discussion at the BCC, the sponsoring commissioner will be there, and hopefully between now and then, there will be some articulation of timeline and time frame that we can anticipate with the acquisition and what we can do in light of that, so that this permit is able to be given to the next highest ranking bidder, and those services able to be provided at the airport. Commissioner Hardiman.
One last thing from me. I just want to say that I'm not here to judge the business practices of those two companies. Them merging and not merging is not my business. Sometimes people want two totally different companies for the benefit of having two totally different companies. And so I'm fine necessarily with them maintaining their separate permits, if you will, but from the eyes of government, at least I want us to know that it's still one company, right? And so having a sixth option makes sense because, now effectively we're dealing with five different sort of ownership stakes versus six.
Understood.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion on 3D.
So moved.
It's been moved. It's been second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone wish to be recorded no on 3D? 3D carries. Any further on readiness on our agenda to our attorneys? Seeing none, while we had a first, sadly today we have a last. And that last being Sinji Lee's final day with us here at Airport. And I really just want to take a moment to thank you for your incredible dedication and service to Miami-Dade County. We are going to miss you tremendously. If you don't know Sinji Lee, you have missed out on an incredible opportunity to know an incredible human being. She's been with our county attorney's office since 2001, and she is moving on to, I don't want to say greener pastures because it doesn't get any better than Miami-Dade County, but she is moving on, and we wish her all the best and all the love in the world and all the support. So if everyone can join me, honestly, we don't applaud here in the chambers often, but Sinji, you certainly deserve one. Please join me in a round of applause for Sinji Lee. And to our leader of our county attorney department, you're certainly recognized should you want to share some brief remarks.
Thank you, I would. I actually I'm looking at Ralph. Ralph, do you want to say something before I go? If that's okay with the chair?
Glad to. So, I will be very brief. Anyway, we took Cindy out to lunch twice last week. That's how much we value her. We took her out to lunch twice. She will be sorely missed. We're extremely happy for her. I mean, she's going to be general counsel of Tampa International Airport. Great opportunity, great on the professional side. I got a phone call from her new boss back a couple of weeks ago when she was making the decision, and when he asked me about her, I mean, I almost cried on the phone. And I told him, listen, you're getting an excellent employee. I hate that you're taking her because she's been a wise counsel, a good friend, just tremendous to work with at our airport forever. And Tampa's getting a real superstar, and you will be missed very much by all of us. But they're getting an A1 attorney, an A1 general counsel, and whoever comes is going to have big shoes to fill, and we'll train them up, but it's going to take a while to replace Sinji. But anyway, thank you so much, Sinji. From all of us at MIA, you've been the best, and you will be very sorely missed. All yours, Jerry.
Thank you. All right, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, wait.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing Sinji's service to the community, to this county, and to the airport, and for allowing me to say a few words. I had to write them down because I didn't want to get very emotional. I don't know if you all know, but I left the airport and Sinji took my spot. She took my office. She took my furniture. She said she wasn't, I think she kept my plant. She said she didn't want to change anything. That's how far back Sinji and I go. It's been 20 years plus. Tampa Airport's gain is most certainly our loss, because to know Sinji is to love her, and we will most certainly miss her. Sinji, we will miss your expertise and dedication to the county and to the airport. She does this thing where she won't look at me. We will miss your willingness to help with any issue. We will miss your mentoring of all of our new lawyers, and we will miss your powerful yet joyful presence, your smile, and your infectious laugh. I personally feel blessed and I'm grateful to have worked with you for over 20 years. Thank you for being a part of my essential leadership, an essential part of my leadership team. Thank you for your wisdom and your guidance, and thank you for your friendship. You are a beloved member of the County Attorney's Office. You can look at me. I can't look at you. And I know I speak for everyone when I say, we are proud of you. We're happy for you. We're excited for you, but we're going to miss you terribly. And I love you. Did you want to say something?
I can just say thank you. It's been a long process. It's hard. It's hard to leave people you love. Everyone in the county feels like family. These tears are seriously from a level of emotion from working with just amazing professionals. I was raised in Miami-Dade County. It's not my first job, but after clerking, it has really been a place where I have felt at home. I felt loved, appreciated, and I take all that with me going to Tampa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. And very touching moment that we don't often get to share an experience on the dais. And so thank you for sharing that. Everyone sees what we do here, but they never get to see the relationships that are built behind the scenes. And you are one of many examples of when we say that we are one family here in Miami-Dade County, we really, truly mean it. So we will miss you. We love you. Godspeed. And thank you for more than 20 years of service to our amazing county. We are adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone.